A quiet ripple across Silicon Valley has officially turned into a shockwave. On March 2, 2026, Mark Zuckerberg shattered Florida real estate records by closing on a $170 million fortress on Miami's ultra-exclusive Indian Creek Island. If you think this is just another billionaire buying a trophy home, you're missing the real story. For decades, Silicon Valley was built on the idea that the where didn't matter as much as the what. It was about the code, the disruption, and the dream. But in 2026, the where has officially become a liability. Look, I've tracked these moves for years, but this feels different. It's not just a change of scenery, it's a total rejection of the Silicon Valley social contract. The dream didn't die, it just moved to a zip code that doesn't want to seize it. When a man worth over $230 billion moves his primary residence, it's never just about the view, it's about a ticking clock. As of early 2026, California's Billionaire Tax Act has shifted from a political threat to a looming reality. For Zuckerberg, staying in Palo Alto past the deadline didn't just mean a higher bill, it meant an $11 billion eviction notice from the state he helped build. Today, we're going inside the Billionaire Bunker to see exactly what $170 million buys when you're fleeing a political storm. But more importantly, we're uncovering the double life Zuckerberg is playing, simultaneously pledging $50 million to fund California's AI future while anchoring his personal fortune in the Florida sand. Silicon Valley is losing its crown, and the move is more calculated than you think. The Eviction Notice. For decades, California was the spiritual home of the tech elite, the place where a garage and a dream could evolve into a global empire. But by early 2026, the Golden State has transformed into a high-stakes battleground over the very wealth it helped create. The 2026 Billionaire Tax Act is no longer just a headline. It's a political juggernaut that just cleared its first major hurdle for the November ballot. The math is brutal, a one-time 5% tax on total global wealth, not income, but everything you own, for anyone who is a California resident on January 1, 2026. The act has a hidden barb. It targets anyone who was a resident on that specific New Year's Day. This is why the timing of Zuckerberg's March 2 closing is so critical. He's not just moving, he's documenting a clean break. In the world of high-stakes audits, every day he spends in Palo Alto now is a day the California Franchise Tax Board could use to argue he still belongs to them. By planting his flag in Miami now, he's creating the paper trail needed to fight a potential $11 billion lawsuit. The tax isn't just a contribution, it's a confiscation. For someone like Zuckerberg, whose net worth has surged to $231 billion this year, a 5% wealth tax translates to a staggering $11.5 billion bill. Even if he takes the state's generous offer to spread that over 5 years, he's still looking at over $2.3 billion per year in checks written to Sacramento. Think about that for a second. We're talking about an $11 billion penalty just for staying home. To put that in perspective, $11 billion is more than the annual GDP of several island nations. California is asking for a moving fee equivalent to the cost of building 4 Golden Gate bridges from scratch. Think about that. $11 billion is more than the annual GDP of several island nations. In 1937, we built the world's most famous bridge for $35 million. Even adjusted for a century of inflation, California is asking one man for enough money to rebuild that entire landmark 4 times over. To me, California isn't just taxing the rich anymore, they're taxing the very motivation to build. You don't have to like Zuckerberg to see that this math is a suicide note for the Golden State. The fortress in the Bay. Enter Florida, a state that has weaponized its zero-tax status to dismantle Silicon Valley's monopoly on talent. Miami, once the capital of nightlife, has been rebranded as the Wall Street of the South, but at its heart lies a man-made fortress that makes the White House look accessible, Indian Creek Island. Known as the Billionaire Bunker, this 300-acre sanctuary is more than just a gated community. It is an independent municipality with its own sworn police force and a single, heavily guarded bridge. It is where the ultra-wealthy go when they want to put a physical and legal moat between their assets and the taxman. To me, it doesn't look like a neighborhood, It looks like a lifeboat for a very specific class of people who are done waiting for the storm to pass. With only 41 residential lots and neighbors who could buy entire countries, it is the ultimate strategic base for a man like Zuckerberg. But the bunker wasn't built for the tech era. Its roots go back to 1928, long before the first line of code was ever written. It was carved out of the bay as an elite playground centered around a massive, 18-hole golf course designed by the legendary William Flynn. What most people miss is that Indian Creek isn't just a fancy street, it is its own incorporated municipality. It has its own mayor, its own council, and most importantly, its own sworn police force. This isn't a security guard in a golf cart. These are police officers with the power of the state behind them. Think about the math. There are only 41 residential lots on the entire island. The police force numbers over a dozen. That is a ratio of one armed officer for every 3 houses. In Palo Alto, you're lucky to see a patrol car once a week. In Indian Creek, the police don't just protect the neighborhood, they are the neighborhood. It is a sovereign village where the residents are the board of directors. They don't just buy security, they own the law. The neighbors in the lifeboat. But Zuck isn't just buying a house, he's joining the most powerful homeowners association in human history. To live on Indian Creek, a $170 million check is just the ante. The real currency. It's who you're sharing the air with. Just 3 doors down, Jeff Bezos has finished assembling a $237 million mega compound by snapping up 3 separate estates. Across the fairway, NFL legend Tom Brady has moved into his $35 million eco-fortress. And let's not forget the political royalty. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner are anchored here in a $24 million estate they bought from Julio Iglesias. This isn't a neighborhood, it's a high-stakes lifeboat. When you have the heads of Amazon and Meta living on the same street as a former first daughter and a 7-time Super Bowl champ, you aren't just living there. You are forming a geographical blockade against the outside world. It's a gated state where the residents have more combined net worth than most European nations. This is more than a neighborhood, it's a high-stakes physical meta-colony. Look at the land grab happening 3 doors down. Jeff Bezos didn't just buy a house, he orchestrated a $237 million siege, snapping up 3 separate waterfront estates to build a mega compound that dwarfs almost anything in the southeast. While Bezos and Zuckerberg battle for dominance in the cloud and on the stock market, they are now literally sharing a property line. They've gone from being competitors in the digital world to being fence mates in the physical one. But don't think this is just a tech geek convention. The bunker is where the apex predators of every industry converge. You've got Carl Icahn, the corporate raider who invented the hostile takeover, and Tom Brady, the man who mastered the art of winning at all costs. This island is a concentrated dose of the world's most competitive egos. They aren't here for the community. They are here because they know that when the world gets loud, this is the only place left where the silence is guaranteed by armed guards and thermal imaging. The sovereign specs. What makes the bunker truly chilling isn't just the wealth, it's the autonomy. Indian Creek is an incorporated village with its own sworn police force for only 41 residential lots. That is a ratio of roughly 1 officer for every 3 houses. If you try to approach by water, you aren't met by a lifeguard. You're intercepted by a 24/7 armed marine patrol equipped with thermal imaging. But the perimeter isn't just physical. On Indian Creek, the air itself is monitored. Rumors suggest acoustic sensors designed to detect the frequency of unauthorized drones miles away. Zuckerberg isn't just dodging taxes, he's buying a digital blackout zone where the data he spent decades harvesting from others can't be harvested from him. There is exactly 1 bridge in and out. 1 gate. 1 decision maker. Look at the architecture. These aren't homes, they are hardened assets. Zuckerberg's new $170 million limestone fortress isn't designed for garden parties. It's designed for continuity. In an era of political instability and wealth taxes, Indian Creek offers the one thing money usually can't buy, a physical and legal off-switch from the rest of society. The sub-king vs. the social media king. On March 2, 2026, the rumors officially became history. Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan closed on 7 Indian Creek Island Road for a record-shattering $170 million. The property, a massive, 30,000 square foot limestone masterpiece, designed by the ultra-luxury architect Ferris Rafauli, this isn't just a house, it's a bespoke resort. To understand the vibe, you have to look at Rafauli's resume. This is the man who built the Embassy, Drake's $100 million limestone cathedral in Toronto. Rafauli doesn't do cozy. He does imperial. Zuckerberg's new fortress spans 30,000 square feet of conditioned space, featuring 9 bedrooms and 11.5 bathrooms. But it's the waterfront wellness wing that signals his true priorities, a massive, spa-grade sanctuary designed for the kind of recovery you only need when you're managing the world's data. The centerpiece of the main floor is a 1,500-gallon aquarium. It doesn't just sit in a corner. It acts as a massive living wall separating the professional kitchen from the formal dining room. It's a literal barrier made of water and glass. And then, there's the library. It's a double-height, wood-paneled room that looks like something out of a 19th century manor, complete with a secret passageway. Why does a man who knows everything about everyone through a screen need a secret door in his library? Maybe because in 2026, the greatest luxury isn't being seen, it's being able to disappear. Zuckerberg didn't just buy a property, he bought a work of art that was originally listed for $200 million in November. He essentially got a $30 million early bird discount by moving before the ink was dry on California's tax proposals. Think about the scale of that saving for a second. He saved $30 million on the sticker price, enough to build his own 1930s-style Golden Gate Bridge just with the discount. While the rest of the world is struggling with inflation, the social media king is out here getting a landmark for free just by knowing when to close the deal. We're talking about a double-height library hidden behind a secret passage, a 1,500-gallon aquarium that acts as a living wall, and even a Himalayan saltwall sauna. Zuckerberg didn't just buy a home, he bought a hardened asset designed for the next century. The Silicon Valley Exodus. This isn't just a vacation home, it's a legal anchor. To escape the 2026 Billionaire Tax Act, Titans must prove they have abandoned their California residency. Zuckerberg's March 2nd closing is a calculated, early strike, establishing his flag in Florida long before the taxman can ring the doorbell in Palo Alto. And he is far from the only one playing this high-stakes game. Zuckerberg is joining a massive Silicon Valley exodus that is picking up speed every hour. Google co-founder Larry Page recently finalized a $173.4 million acquisition of 2 massive waterfront estates in Coconut Grove, while his partner Sergey Brin just dropped $51 million on a double-lot oceanfront mansion on Allison Island. When you see Bezos, Page, Brin, and Zuckerberg all making the same move at the same time, it stops being a coincidence and becomes a migration of power. Miami isn't just becoming the new Palo Alto, it's becoming a distributed fortress for the entire Forbes 400. The center of innovation isn't just shifting, it's being evacuated. These billionaires aren't just voting with their feet, they are moving the very foundation of the American economy to the Billionaire Bunker. The breaking point. The question is, why now? Why are so many of the world's richest people suddenly treating California like a sinking ship? Taxes are the headline, but the story runs deeper into a climate of open hostility. By March 2026, California has become the most expensive and regulated territory in the Western world, but it's the voting power trap in the new tax act that has billionaires truly terrified. Critics warn that the law could tax founders like Zuckerberg based on their voting control rather than just their actual shares, a move that would mathematically force him to liquidate his control of Meta just to pay the bill. For Zuckerberg, this move is a masterpiece of timing. Meta is currently shifting its AI infrastructure toward the southeast, and while he still owns a massive compound in Palo Alto, Florida offers something California no longer can: sovereignty over his own fortune. This isn't just a house move, it's a server migration. As Florida and Texas offer subsidized energy for AI data centers, the Billionaire Bunker acts as the command center for a new tech corridor. Zuckerberg isn't leaving the industry, He's building a Wall Street of AI that bypasses the Pacific time zone entirely. The double life paradox. But the story doesn't end with a moving van. Even as Zuckerberg builds his $170 million escape hatch in Florida, he is still pumping millions into the very state he is leaving. In January 2026, he pledged $50 million to Sacramento State for a new AI center. It is the ultimate double life. My take: Zuckerberg is playing the smartest game of good cop, bad cop in history. He's the good cop philanthropist in Sacramento while being the bad cop fugitive in Miami. He's essentially paying a $50 million cover charge to walk out of an $11 billion restaurant. We are witnessing the birth of stateless capital. Zuckerberg's $50 million donation is hush money. It's a way to keep his brand liked in the West while he keeps his money safe in the South. He is effectively renting the reputation of a Californian while owning the reality of a Floridian. It's the ultimate A/B test of American loyalty, and so far, the results are clear. The math always beats the mission. Zuckerberg isn't just buying a house, he's buying a new operating system for his $231 billion legacy. California provided the garage, but Florida is providing the vault. As we watch the Billionaire Bunker become the new headquarters for the tech elite, the question isn't why he left. It's who's next. As the sun sets over Biscayne Bay, the lights in the Billionaire Bunker flicker on, one by one, representing the salvaged fortunes of Silicon Valley's founders. The code is still in the cloud, but the keys to the kingdom are now behind a single, guarded bridge in Florida. The California dream didn't end. It just got a $170 million upgrade and a private police force. As we wrap up this journey through the changing landscape of American wealth, let's pause for a moment to reveal how this narrative came together, shaped through meticulous research, original insight, and the distinctive storytelling that sets our channel apart. At Richest Billionaires Homes, we don't just showcase properties, we sell a dream and tell a story. Our mission is to narrate the lifestyle, the vision, and the legacy behind every billionaire's home. We believe in tell, don't just show, because every space deserves a voice, and every detail speaks to a life well lived. The original stories we share here aren't found anywhere else on YouTube or social media. That is our brand guarantee. They're crafted by real people to inspire, captivate, and elevate your imagination.